Wait. Why are you drinking diet soda? We can just have regular soda.
Well, diet sodas have 0 calories and 0 sugars. It's perfect for people trying to stay fit and healthy.
Now, hold on. Is this take on diet sodas real or not? Are they really healthier than regular sodas? Well, why don't we find out in this video? So, the main difference between regular sodas like regular Coke and diet sodas like Diet Coke or Coke Zero is their sugar content, as this is the main reason why people decide to drink diet rather than regular soda. Regular sodas typically use natural sugars, while diet sodas typically use artificial sweeteners, which tend to imitate the sweet taste of natural sugars, and are marketed to be healthier alternatives. To go more in depth about the sugars and sweeteners found in these sodas, we can classify them into three categories: natural sugars, low-calorie sweeteners, and artificial sweeteners. But for this video, we will be focusing on natural sugars and artificial sweeteners. Some common examples of natural sugars are glucose, lactose, fructose, and sucrose. For artificial sweeteners, some of these are aspartame, sucralose, saccharin, and acesulfame K. Here are the chemical formulas and the chemical structure for some of the mentioned natural sugars. For fructose, the chemical formula contains 6 carbon atoms, 12 hydrogen atoms, and 6 oxygen atoms. Sucrose, on the other hand, has 12 carbon atoms, 22 hydrogen atoms, and 11 oxygen atoms. Depending on the region, most drinks are made with these two types of sugars. Australia mainly uses sucrose, while the US mainly uses fructose. On the other hand, these are the ones for artificial sweeteners like aspartame, whose formula contains 14 carbon atoms, 18 hydrogen atoms, 2 nitrogen atoms, and 5 oxygen atoms. Sucralose has 12 carbon atoms, 19 hydrogen atoms, 3 chlorine atoms, and 8 oxygen atoms. As we can see in the ingredient list of these sodas, they mainly use aspartame as an artificial sweetener. Sucralose, on the other hand, is actually more commonly known as Splenda, which is its brand name and is typically advertised as a better and healthier alternative to sugar.
Sugars are a staple in many diets and dishes, but what are its effects on our health? Refined sugars such as sucrose are commonly used in various food products. In a study published in the National Center for Biotechnology Information in 2022, the article highlights several health concerns associated with their consumption. An animal study cited in the article found that rats consuming 8% sucrose solution developed tachycardia and hypertension within 1 week, indicated a potential link between high sugar intake and cardiovascular issues. Moreover, a cross-sectional study on children aged 6 to 12 years demonstrated a positive correlation between the frequency of sugar-containing food consumption and the prevalence of dental caries. This article references a survey involving 2,496 participants across various countries, revealing that individuals consuming cola soft drinks had a higher prevalence of obesity, gastritis, constipation, and mental illness. Furthermore, a systematic review and meta-analysis of randomized controlled trials concluded that dietary sugars affect serum lipids and blood pressure independently of their impact on body weight. Studies have linked high intake of refined sugars and saturated fats with impaired cognitive functions, including reduced hippocampal-dependent memory and sensitivity to interoceptive signals. Excessive sugar consumption during pregnancy is associated with increased risk of preeclampsia, gestational weight gain, gestational diabetes mellitus, and higher body mass index in children during early childhood. What about natural sweeteners? First, we have the stevia. Stevia is derived from the leaves of the Stevia rebaudiana plant. It contains steviol glycosides, which are approximately 300 times sweeter than sucrose and have a low energy value of 2.7 kilocalories per gram. Studies suggest that stevia exhibits anti-hyperglycemic, anti-hypertensive, and antioxidant properties, making it beneficial for individuals with diabetes and hypertension. Monk fruit, on the other hand, or luo han guo in Chinese, contains smogosides, which are intensely sweet compounds with antioxidant properties. Research indicates that monk fruit extract can significantly reduce insulin resistance and possesses anti-inflammatory and anti-obesity effects. We also have honey. Honey comprises of about 38% fructose and 30% glucose. It also contains various enzymes, proteins, phenolics, vitamins, and minerals. The article cites that honey can reduce body weight, body fat, triglycerides, and LDL cholesterol, while slightly increasing HDL cholesterol. And lastly, we have our artificial sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners are synthetic sugar substitutes that provide sweetness without the calories. However, it has its own potential concerns. Artificial sweeteners such as aspartame may raise insulin levels because the body responds to the sweet taste by releasing insulin, potentially leading to hunger attacks. Contrary to popular belief, long-term use of artificial sweeteners such as sucralose may be associated with weight gain and increased risks of high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes.
When it comes to metabolism, natural sugars, similar to glucose, are quickly absorbed into the bloodstream and used by cells as a direct source of energy. However, fructose is processed almost entirely in the liver. When consumed in excess, fructose can overwhelm the liver, triggering a process called lipogenesis, where sugar is converted into fat. Over time, this can lead to fat accumulation in the liver and insulin resistance, a condition where the body becomes less responsive to insulin, often resulting in high blood sugar levels. On the other hand, sucrose, or table sugar, is made of both glucose and fructose, similar to how lactose is made of glucose and galactose. During digestion, it's broken down into its two components, which are then absorbed and processed as described. In contrast, artificial sweeteners like sucralose, aspartame, saccharin, and asulfame K are designed to provide sweetness without the calories or immediate blood sugar effects of natural sugars. These compounds are not digested or metabolized for energy. Instead, they often pass through the body unchanged or are minimally processed. However, emerging research shows that some artificial sweeteners may still influence metabolism indirectly. They may affect gut microbiota, disrupting the balance of bacteria in digestion, which could then alter how the body handles glucose and contribute to glucose intolerance in some individuals. Many sodas contain high fructose corn syrup, a blend of glucose and fructose. Excessive intake of HFCS is often associated with increased risk of obesity, insulin resistance, and other metabolic disorders.
Artificial sweeteners are considered a healthier alternative to organic sugar, but are they actually healthier? Sugar intake is seen as a major factor that affects body weight. Various studies show that to improve energy balance, in other words, to lose or maintain weight, we should lessen our sugar intake and switch to artificial sweeteners since they have fewer calories. As sugar provides large amounts of absorbable carbohydrates and energy, it may lead to excessive energy intake and significant weight gain, making them seem unhealthy. Sweeteners can be classified into two categories, nutritive and non-nutritive. Nutritive sweeteners are sugars, monosaccharides and disaccharides that contain carbohydrates and provide energy that the body can metabolize. Examples of these are glucose, sucrose, fructose, and lactose, which are commonly found in food and beverages and naturally found in fruits, vegetables, and dairy. On the other hand, non-nutritive or artificial sweeteners are much sweeter than organic sugars, making them low-calorie sweeteners as they are needed in much lesser amounts. According to a study by Frontiers in Nutrition, artificial sweeteners do not provide significant energy, are metabolized differently, and have different properties, making them unique and serving different purposes. So, how do artificial sweeteners affect body weight? Various studies, such as one by Frontiers in Nutrition, have shown that artificial sweeteners may have neutral or beneficial effects on long-term weight control, which suggests that it could be a good alternative to sugar and aid in weight loss due to its low-calorie content. However, other studies, like one from Science Direct, show that long-term use of artificial sweeteners could lead to weight gain and health risks like high blood pressure or diabetes. With that, it has not been concretely proven whether replacing organic sugars with artificial sweeteners result in weight loss or weight gain. Aside from that, what are the possible psychological effects of artificial sweeteners compared to organic sugars? Generally, consuming sugar gives our bodies a burst of dopamine, and consuming high amounts could result in a sugar rush, making our body crave more and possibly resulting in addiction. While both organic and artificial sugar can be addicting, it could be more harmful to be addicted to artificial sweeteners as these are much sweeter than organic sugar, and consuming them makes our bodies release higher levels of dopamine. This results in our brains craving for more, and as it is low calorie, it is easier for us to give in to that craving, creating a continuous cycle that slowly becomes an addiction, and we end up consuming more calories and putting our health at risk. While addiction is one of the main effects, there are other psychological impacts brought by the consumption of these sugars. According to a study by the National Institute of Health, humans have their own beliefs and expectations regarding the calorie content of food or beverages, which can influence brain function and metabolism. This means that as artificial sweeteners are perceived as a healthy alternative and are low in calories, consuming food containing them can produce reduced satisfaction and lead to rebound eating. Thus, scientists state that further research is needed as there is much more about artificial sweeteners that have not been discovered, as well as their effects, and yet it is being added to our food.
For the environmental impact of the organic and artificial sweeteners, since the human body cannot fully digest artificial sweeteners, they pass through the body and directly enter the sewage system. This is particularly true for artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, saccharin, and acesulfame K. These compounds have been detected in ground systems, moving from surface water into the soil and eventually reaching groundwater reservoirs. These compounds are miscible in water and allow them to spread through water droplets, and when evaporated, can turn to airborne particles, which when absorbed by humans, plants, and animals, can have negative effects. Artificial sweeteners in soil, specifically saccharin, sucralose, and aspartame, can significantly alter plant metabolism. As plants absorb water with the presence of artificial sweeteners, these compounds increase chlorophyll A and POX activity, which can induce oxidative stress as a potential mechanism of toxicity. And when plants experience oxidative stress, it can lead to cellular damage and cell death. Aspartame, a chemical found in artificial sweeteners, degrades much more rapidly in aqueous solutions at neutral pH 7 when exposed to light, indicating that it is highly unstable in bright environments. In the human body, aspartame is completely broken down into its constituent amino acids, aspartic acid and phenylalanine. Then when the chemicals leave the body, it is exposed to the environment, and when exposed in especially sunlit water bodies like rivers, lakes, and ponds, its instability under light may lead to accelerated degradation. If these products, such as phenylalanine, accumulate to toxic levels, they could negatively impact water quality. For the environmental impact of organic sugar, using fertilizers can impact groundwater quality, especially with inorganic fertilizers, due to their high solubility. Nitrogen compounds from this fertilizer enter the nitrogen cycle, and when nitrogen returns to the soil as ammonium, soil bacteria then converts nitrogen into nitrate, which can either be taken up by plants, released into the atmosphere as gases like nitrogen and nitrous oxide, and if unused, go into groundwater or run off into rivers and lakes, leading to water pollution.